iceberg that is above the water is what people see. It's who we are in the classroom. It's our public identity. It is also called on-stage performance. Now, when you are on stage, you can fake your identity. You can pretend to be someone you are not. The second part of the iceberg, the great mass of the iceberg under the water, is what really happens. It's who you are with yourself. It is also called backstage realities. Now here, you cannot fake your identity. Now, if you are a teacher and you give all your focus on the tip of the iceberg, that is on stage performance, here you would tend to derive your identity and sense of security from the outside, from the approval and praise of your students. You would also tend to show your students how smart you are. You would show them how knowledgeable you are. You would also focus on credentials. I have a PhD from the UK or the USA. I have written a book. I have published so many papers. You would also use position power. If you don't do your assignment, I will cut your marks. If you don't come to the class, I'll give you a W. You would also tend to control. On the other hand, if you focus on the great mass of the iceberg, that is on backstage realities, you would tend to derive your identity and sense of security from the inside, from who you really are. You would also be clear about your beliefs and values, generally in life and particularly in teaching. You would also have a personal mission and vision. You would also focus on building character, that is what you are, and competence, what you can do. You would focus on service and sacrifice instead of control and coercion. You would seek continuous learning and improvement. Now, the whole idea of the inside-out approach is to give our first energies to the backstage realities, to the great mass of the iceberg, before focusing on how to be effective in the classroom. Now, let's come back to the classroom. The classroom is paradoxical. It has good moments and bad moments. When things are good, we feel good. But what do we do when things are bad? Do we moan and groan? Do we criticize and accuse? Or do we just withdraw and ignore? What do we do? Now, if you use the inside-out approach, here is what you might do. You would first of all ask, what is it in me that created this problem? Second, what is good in this situation? Third, what can I learn here? caution. When you reflect on a bad moment in the classroom, don't start with the question, what could I have done differently? Because if you ask that question, you would, you would look for a quick fix to the problem. You would try to find some technique to cover up your character flaws. But if you ask the following questions first, what happened? Describe the situation in detail. How did I deal with the situation? And how did I feel? Then, and only then, you can ask, what could I have done differently? Because if you ask these three questions, they will give you insight into your identity, into who you really are. Okay, now let me show you a practical way of doing this. Recently, I had a bad moment in the classroom. It was some weeks ago. Okay. Um, it was on Thursday. Previous to that moment, I had really good time in the classroom. I felt happy, but not until Thursday. I was going to the class expecting everything would be all right. But what happened made me feel unhappy. So here is my reflection on the bad moment. And I'd like you to look at the screen while I'm reading. Student A, one of my students, came to the class without a book. He wasn't showing any interest in my lesson. Despite using my best techniques to get his attention, he wouldn't respond. The more I tried, the more I failed. I felt frustrated inside. I decided to ignore him, but then I remembered that this is against one of my principles in teaching. That is, the key to teaching me is how you treat the one. I felt guilty. Meanwhile, I forgot that there were other students in the classroom. The only student I saw was student A. Consciously or subconsciously, the other students felt that they were ignored. They sensed that I was putting a performance, the aim of which was to get the approval and praise of student A. Then at the end, I wrote, my frustration with student A was a result of unmet expectation. I expected him to understand me and like my lesson, but I didn't try to understand him first and then make him understand me. So next time I said I should seek to understand first before seeking to be understood. So do you see, reflecting on classroom practice can be painful because it forces us to confront our inadequacies, imperfections, and foolish decisions that we made in the classroom. But without willing to pay that price, we wouldn't have any deep satisfaction in teaching. The other option is to live a lie. It's to go to the classroom pretending to be someone you are not. It's to put a performance, to seek image and popularity, to seek, the approval and praise of your students. But this won't give you any satisfaction. It would only create cotton candy satisfaction. Now, to conclude, the classroom is paradoxical, It has good moments and bad moments, but it's also a great place to understand our identity, which is essential for good teaching. Thank you.